Good morning, everyone. It is 9:16 and we'll begin today's Teller County Board of County Commissioners meeting at 112 North A Street in Town of Cripple Creek. And we will begin with Austin May leading us in the pledge and then invocations first and then the pledge. Mr. Williams will lead us in the invocation.
Heavenly Father, thanks for another day to serve the residents of Teller County, to show leadership, to hopefully end the division in our country. We also remember events of 80 years ago today, on D-Day, as those men and women sacrificed themselves. So, in His name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that, gentlemen. First up, we have some minutes from the previous meeting. Our May 23rd, 2024 meeting.
Sure, I've read them. I don't have any petitions, changes from my vantage point.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I've also reviewed and have no corrections. So I would move to approve the minutes of the proceedings of the Board of County Commissioners of Teller County, Colorado, dated May 23rd, 2024, as presented.
Second, the motion, Mr. Chair.
Great, assuming no other discussion, roll call please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Camp?
Yes. Do we have the minutes from the previous meeting?
I thought we had a draft of those. I don't see them in the packet. You're talking about the minutes.
Stephanie has your.
You have those. Thank you. So if we could review those and then also, after we review those minutes, and then let's also have a motion to ratify what happened at that meeting.
Okay, yeah, and you emailed this to us, and I did review that email, what you sent through, so on this printed out version for you.
Yeah, for the press, what we're talking about is our reading of ordinance 22. We did the emergency meeting the day after, so we did get these minutes, so I don't have any changes either.
I'm good.
So Paul, just for you to repeat again, so we need to go ahead and pass these
Yeah.
the minutes and then ratify.
And yeah, and then ratify the action taken at that. So that you can do that by motion.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes of the proceedings of the special meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, Teller County, Colorado, May 24th, 2024. That being the first reading of the Teller County Ordinance number 22, to protect the right to carry firearms in sensitive spaces in accordance with Senate Bill 24-131, and also ratify the actions.
That works. Second.
Great, assuming no other discussion, roll call please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes. Thank you. That handles the minutes, and then we have any accounts payable, right? I have nothing to note on that. So
Not reviewing my own either, sir.
I did not have any questions. Good.
great.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the accounts payable for June 4th, 2024, in the amount of $166,822.43 as presented.
Second.
All right, again, assuming no other discussion, roll call please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen. And next up, we have the board report. Commissioner Stone.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sure all three of us kind of had similar periods from the last meeting, which was that we all attended the Colorado Counties Incorporated Summer Conference. This is where county commissioners from around the state of Colorado gather together twice yearly to discuss issues that are important to counties, and we share a lot of experiences, share a lot of solutions, and get to talk about how other people are solving similar problems. We also recapped the legislative year, and we got handed a pretty large packet of mandates that came out of that legislative session. So we're still piling through to figure out what some of those mandates are and how they're going to impact the county, and of course, most importantly, but what it's going to cost us, because there's nothing the state government doesn't touch, it doesn't get more. So that being said, though, there was one session that I attended both you might even have been in that session. There was a session that they did, and it's interesting, if you go to these conferences, it's very common that they'll have, a session on affordable housing, or attainable housing, low income housing. This is the first time I've ever been to a conference where they had a session on middle income housing. And essentially what they were saying was something which I think we probably already know, but maybe hasn't been spoken out loud in Teller County, which is we have this huge gap now in what's called in middle income housing. In other words, for the average household, which I believe in Colorado, the average household income has now risen as high as $90-some thousand average household income, is you can't qualify to buy the average house in Colorado anymore. And that exists here in Teller County. You look here, our average house is probably pushing 575 to 600,000. If you're a two household income earning family, you're probably, fairly close to that state average, I think, for where our numbers are. And that probably means you can't qualify to buy any of the homes that are, most of the homes that are listed here in Teller County, and that's an issue. And some of the ways that were talked about to help correct that, one of which was to fill the gap in the marketplace that currently does not exist in the state of Colorado. It was a legislative goal that I took up this last session, and unfortunately we failed on it, which was construction defects reform. And for those who don't know what construction defects reform is basically it says that when you build something like a townhouse, condo complex, etc., is that there's a 10-year window where there's a look back where you can go and sue whoever built or touched any part of that construction process and sue them. Private lawyers absolutely love this. They've made a lot of money off of it. And if the intent of the construction defects reform law, which I believe was passed, let's say about 20 years ago, if the intent was to stop all construction of townhomes and condos and other entry-level housing, it worked. Because we now have almost no entry-level housing available in Colorado whatsoever. So I'm not giving up on it. There's other commissioners that I've talked to at the conference. They're not giving up on it either. There was a builder who specializes actually in public-private housing partnerships who very specifically and loudly pointed out, until we fix construction defects, we cannot provide housing for middle income. And I know one of the things that they talked about also was things that we can't control, which is at the same time the state is ratcheting up requirements for what, for building requirements for what you have to have in your home, whether it's energy requirements, whether it's electrical requirements, or excuse me, roofing requirements, hardening homes against, wildfire concerns. All of these things add costs to building homes. And so you have the state who's saying we need affordable housing, and now they're saying we need minimum housing at the same time that they're raising the cost of, building homes. And that's a problem. It's a problem we can't fix. We try to avoid it. We try to push it off. But we have only so much authority here at the county level. But then the second thing that we can do as much as we possibly can, is we try to lower those entry costs for doing stuff. And here in Teller County, if you're building in the county, chances are you're going to need a well, you're going to need a septic. Before you've taken two steps, you probably put $75,000 to $100,000 just to get those two things done. And it's hard to make a house for less than $400,000 when you pay for land, which we also know is very valuable now. And then you're also $75,000 to $100,000 in the septic. So one of the things that we have done is we, at least in the Divide area, which is our designated growth area of the county, is we're working on. We have applications on our agenda today about expanding the wastewater treatment plant in Divide and trying to kind of lower that step-off level into that. And that being said, it's still not the government's responsibility to tell them what to build. We're hopeful that developers, when they come in there, will be able to build stuff that, frankly, even our rank and file employees of the county would be able to afford and their families, because we are growing from a standpoint of the county itself, but we know that it's difficult for people to find places to live and to buy and be able to stay. So we're hopeful in the actions that we're taking over the next couple of years that the government piece of this, which is to be able to provide an affordable way to hook up to the septic, that is cheaper than what it costs perhaps to do in the county proper, or the more rural parts of the county. That will be able to help that. But I was really struck by that though, that across the state of Colorado, that now we get to talk about affordable housing and low income housing, and now we're talking about middle income housing. And the vast majority of that, I would say has been, that problem was created by government, both through the construction defects laws, and then also, the greatly advanced and increased building requirements. We'll continue to fight on those. I'll continue to fight on those. We'll try to get construction defects reformed. But it's taken us a while to get to where we are, and it's going to take a while to either unwind or find a way out of that. Outside of that, also want to let the board members know and the community know, I have applied with the Teller County Senior Coalition for an open position on their executive board. I think it's been a lot of years since we've had a commissioner serve on the board of the Teller Senior Coalition. But I really think it's important that a commissioner be on that board. The boards that I sit on actually tend to generally provide a lot of the funding that they receive, because I sit on the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments Board, which is our AAA agency, the Area Agency on Aging. They provide funding to the Senior Coalition, and then CDOT and all the transportation boards that I serve on provide funding for the transit services that they provide. So by being on that board, I'll have a better understanding of their needs and be able to better support them. And I'm going to attend their meeting on the 20th. And then after attending that meeting, it'll be up to that board to decide. But I did meet with Bob Maxwell, who's the president of the board, and I think they're looking forward to having me join that board. So I want to let you and the community know that that's something I'll be doing. And with that, Mr. Chair, I will give it to you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Stone. Commissioner Williams, you're up next.
Thanks, Mr. Chair, and I applaud Eric for stepping up to do that. It's our fastest growing demographic in Colorado, and with nearly 2 million people above 50 and 1.5 above 65. So thank you, Eric. Just 3 things today. I'm going to talk a little bit about D-Day. I think it's important. But before we do, I have to get something off my conscience. I was a soldier for 30 years, and I swore an oath to the Constitution of this country, and I didn't unswear it, just like Ron Fish back there, former colonel as well. As a county commissioner, I swore an oath to this country and also this state. We have something called the First Amendment and the right to assemble. So this past weekend, we had veterans assembly. That was part of that. Thanks for those of you who came out to support that. We had a law enforcement assembly, and yes, we had a gay pride event up here. It's the first gay pride event we've had here in our history, and it was well attended. And look, I'm not asking anybody to make a judgment about lifestyle or say anything, but we received a communication from the chair of our Republican Party, who is not my chair, he's a rogue, who wants us and has called for Republicans to burn the pride flag. We will not burn flags in Teller County. That's not who we are. That's our right to assemble. It's our right to be free. And 30 years of combat, and everybody that we're going to talk about today, 80 years ago, they turn over in their graves. And so I'm a Republican, as you know, same with folks to my left and your right, because of how we distribute wealth, how we interpret the Constitution, and states' rights for local rights, and social issues are social. So I just needed to get that off my conscience, because Dave Williams does not speak for Dan Williams. And I was happy and sad, happy to get as many emails as I got from Democrats in this county asking me, is this who we are? And that's not who we are as a Republican Party. So I'll just leave it at that. And thanks for that, Mr. Chair. It's important to say freedom of assembly and free speech is guaranteed by the Constitution, no matter who we are, to include wonderful people we're going to hear from in a little while. There might be people that don't like cowgirls, I don't know. You guys have the right to do it. I'm really happy. So
That's crazy, Dan.
Bert will say no. So thank you for that. Secondly, Eric's right, CCI was really good. It was Eagle County, because every commissioner in the state of Colorado, except for Denver, we're trying to get them on board. Bloomfield's there, also Boulder. So all flavors, and you get a real sense of what's going on in Colorado when you talk to commissioners. They're telling you exactly what's going on in Bloomfield, exactly what's going on in Los Alamos. So there's a lot of energy towards combating divisiveness. So all this stuff that you've seen on TV, remember it's election year this year, it's this crazy stuff, you're not sure what to believe. But I'm hopeful, as I know the chair and Eric are, because we talk to our peers and they're all trying to fight like we are. For myself, Pat will remember, and Jack Part Online, we can talk about water quite a bit. And so we had a great session. Mine was about 4 hours. with a new water engineer of the state. He also had receipt of our resolution that we passed against the city of Aurora for trying to take agricultural water from the Arkansas Basin. So I'm very, very hopeful. He's a really easy guy to talk to. He's one of us. He comes from Montrose. He understands that there's a tug and pull between the Front Range and between the rest of Colorado. And so I'm very, very hopeful. We're awaiting his response from the Attorney General review of the feudal rights document. So I'm hoping what we'll get at best will be a recension of the letter, and at worst, a bad thing, but discretion restored to water commissioners, just like we have. So a little bit about D-Day. So when I was a captain, that's the first time I went to Normandy, and I felt some sand in my pocket and I couldn't hear it. And this was April '98, so I think I just made major. I was a captain. And Ron Fish behind the girls there will understand what I say, where you have some really bad days in the military, where people die, and you go to combat and people die, or they lose life and limb, and you think, God, it can't get any worse, right? And then I used to look at this jar of sand. This one came from Omaha Beach. And I thought, actually, this isn't such a bad day. And so with that, I think it's important that we commemorate and just understand that 80 years ago, here's the scale that I want to remind you of, because the world's on fire today, right? We have a war in the Middle East. That's not getting any better. We have a war in Europe. We have a potential war in the Pacific. We're right there. We're right back again. And there will be a 90th anniversary, but no one will be alive. That was there in D-Day. Because the people that are there today, if you saw them on TV, it's live right now. If you look at it, are over 100 years old. Nearly all of them are walkers of wheelchairs. So it's important to mark this milestone by reminding you that 16.1 million men and women served in World War II. 16.1 million. On D-Day, there was over 1.5 million men and women that participated. That's air, sea, and ground. Out of that 1.5 million, there was only 150,000 men that were in the landing craft that took the beaches. And it's important to remember that those beaches were Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword Beach, and the sand comes from one of them. Over 10,000 casualties happened on the first wave, and out of those first casualties, 2,501 U.S. soldiers died. And the rest of the casualties, a lot of those folks died later on from wounds or infection, et cetera. I was talking to our attorney on the way down here too. He's been there as well. And if you've never been there to go to the beach and look at the pillboxes, they're all still there. What'll strike you is how close they are. You are literally standing on a firing squad as you come on in that first or second wave. Some of you may know that General Eisenhower wrote his letter of resignation a few hours before that, because he knew that it was going to be, he had to do it, but he knew it was going to be an onslaught. It was going to be bloody. He expected to be fired, and it was not accepted, because after that we kept going. In World War II itself, it's important to remember in both theaters, actually 3 theaters, that 85 million men and women died. That includes allies, that includes enemy, that includes civilians, a lot of civilians. That was roughly 1/3 of the world's population 80 years ago. So when you think about scale, when you think about sacrifice, it's important. Here's the sad thing and why it's so important for you to take a few minutes today to watch TV tonight or go on the internet. There's only 118,500 World War II veterans still alive. There's only a couple of thousand left in Colorado. There's only 2 or 3 left in Colorado County. That's 1%. So certainly we have a few minutes today to think about the 1% that's still alive. And it's important. And, you know, I think the other lesson that they give us, and probably that's 131 die every day. So if you look for something to pray about or think about, if you still have a chance to know some of this from World War II, like all 3 of us have done, we go and talk to people, we listen to their stories. I lost a father-in-law earlier this year. He was World War II. So once they're gone, they're gone. Let's say by then. So I just want to mention that, Mr. Chair, those sacrifices are worth it. Things can spin out of control really quick when you have sort of the global things that we have, and that's and with how we started. That's why we don't need to be divisive in Teller County. That's why we don't need to be divisive in Colorado or as the United States. Vote your conscience. I'm sure that the clerk's going to tell you that ballots are out. Go ahead and vote for who you want to. You know, just don't attack your neighbor for letting them vote for who they want to. That's what democracy is all about. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Wow, how do I follow that? Well, I was very honored to join that and some of the people here at your Memorial Day presentation there at the cemetery, so that was great, thank you. Just to continue on the CCI conference, had lots of time, the boards of directors that I happened to sit on through CTSI, which is our insurance company that the county group owns. our works allocation fund, which provides us our TANF money from the state. And we had several pots of money that come from the state to help us with the world of social services. But that's actually the one source and the one board that administers the large blocks that come from the joint budget committee, where counties are in charge of the forming and distributing that, as opposed to the state. So it's always rewarding to make sure that that distribution works out. Unfortunately, it's always sort of a concept of equal distribution of pain, because that block grant for TANF funds is never enough money to provide the services we need to for our people that need them, but we've got a good formula and it works. Meantime, I've done lots of other board meetings, including community partnership, Kiwanis events, and a couple others that I don't necessarily need to go into, but it's been sort of a board week for myself. So I think with that, I will cut that short and leave it there. And next up, we have elected officials report. Stephanie, do you have anything to present or?
Just that it's election time, ballots went out on Monday, a little over 18,000. You should be receiving an email anytime now. If you don't receive it, we can track this for you. Just give us a call at the office, and early voting opens on the 17th through election day, excluding Sunday, so you can go and vote in person.
One question, if I may, Madam Clerk. If someone were to be unaffiliated and they were to receive 2 ballots, what should they do?
Vote one.
Vote one. In other
Just
words,
vote.
yeah, so in other words, unaffiliated will receive both a Democrat and a Republican ballot. Return 1, because if you return 2, you're gonna get a call from an office that's not the clerk's office, right?
That's right.
That would be the district attorney's office. Only return once.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
That's all.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Treasurer. Crystal Brown.
Good morning, all. Happy summer. We do not have an official report today, but things are well in the treasurer's office. We are looking at a possible foreclosure sale next week. We've been busy, of course, collecting taxes. Everybody's screaming in at the last minute. My chief deputy Sharon and I will be traveling to Pueblo a week after next to go to conference, and we're really looking forward to that because we could have a Senate bill that is really going to affect our office quite heavily. So we look forward to running all of that knowledge and getting together with all of the other treasurers and public trustees around the state so we can put our heads together and see how we're going to move forward. Other than that, I just wanted to say good morning and that's all.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.
All right, I don't think I see any other officials in the room. No, okay. So next up, minister report. Mr. Herzog.
Morning, Commissioners. Thank you. Just a few updates. The county fairgrounds is looking at the first phase of renovations and getting that ready before our county fair this year. I know we're excited to get a few things underway and then put a plan in place for multiple phases over the next years as budgetary grants and things become available, as well as the Florissant park is underway. So you'll see on the business items today, part of the playground purchase is on there as well. Public Works had a very productive work session the other day. Just looking at staffing, looking at responses, looking at just the amount of roads in the county. You've got new people moving in that have different expectations of what our service standards are. We've got multiple graders out there now. We're trying to get as many just roads hitting the priority ones, and then you come back and try to hit the ones that don't have as much traffic. So we're in the process right now of, you'll see a plan coming forward as you do annually every year. And then those are my big things that are coming up. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
I just want to thank Ross for his oversight. So with range riders here in the High Street Rodeo, you guys know that this particular board, we're not seeking credit. Just want to tell you that there's been a renewed interest over the last 3.5 years on 4-H programs, on agricultural programs, on ranching in this county. I grew up here as a kid, and this is still an agricultural rural county. happens to sort of look like the southern half of the county, but what we've tried to do is mix all that and get people for the northern half to come down. So what Ross is talking about is major investments this year, more of a, small things and then major ones next year for the fairgrounds. So for example, there's a 40-foot flag that we're bringing in, which will fly at 5.8. So when you have any event, whether it's a rodeo, we all know how that starts swinging banners or pledges, you'll have a flag that you can be proud of. And by the way, we won't burn either. And then we have a 125-year anniversary coming up. And so the commissioners have a few things that we're not ready to announce yet, but we're working with Ross. Special music, some of the dedications that we have, there'll be a dedication. There's also 3 flags over at the fairgrounds that are in disrepair now that kind of look like 4-H, Colorado, and other flags that we can put there. So we actually can do that, but we've been told that the Eagle Scouts and the 4-H program would help with that. So that's that partnership. As a reminder, Newmont Mine also gave us money. So along with them, we've got bleachers that will be improved, some ADA access things. And then next year, I think you really see some major shifts over there. So that's all part of investing in not just our youth, but also the agricultural ranching history and legacy of who we are. And that becomes very apparent. And Eric said it earlier, every time we go to Denver, we have to remind 60% of Colorado who live in the Denver metro area, 60% of the voting population, that this lifestyle matters and this is a lifestyle we'll protect. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
And just to add on that, our county fair is the 27th of July through August 4th, so you all attend, and it's a great local, albeit small, it's a great county fair to be involved in, and lots of kids are involved, and lots of kids help produce and put that fair on, so thank you. Anything else?
No, just there's gonna have music and fireworks.
So you get us, gives you extension, what we're talking about.
Not yet.
Okay, you got it. Okay.
All right, next up on the agenda, we have department heads. Any of our department heads in the room have anything to present other than what's on the agenda? Anything, Dan?
Nothing, thank you.
All right. If I see other directors, all right. Next up, we have time reserved for a public that don't have an agenda item on. Don't have a subject. Yes, sir. Come on up. Can you just introduce yourself for the record? That'd be great.
Yes, hi, my name is Francisco Castillo. My wife is on screen, Erica Ring. We are residents of Teller County.
May I ask you to spell your name, please?
Yes, that would be Rancisco and Castillo Castillo.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, so we're residents of Teller County. I have been working with Dan Williams and Lucy Calouette for the last 2 years on a right-of-way vacation application. I'm sure you've probably heard of me or heard of the right-of-way vacation. I reached out to Dan Williams 4 weeks ago. Campbell, I reached out to you in early February. And I've also reached out to John Evans, it would be the BoCC, I guess, the administrator for the BoCC meetings, to try to schedule an agenda with you for 2 regular sessions and then 3 working sessions, for which I have received no reply. So this is essentially a last ditch effort to try to understand what's going on and why my application is on hold. So originally, I worked with Michael Capo back in April of 2022 on a pre-submittal application process. And through that process, it seemed that the county was totally on board, expended funds to the county, the application fee, and paid surveyors thousands of dollars to do surveys around my private property in order to vacate those right of ways. And through the process, we got scheduled for a BoCC meeting on October 26th of 2023. And unbeknownst to me and informed by Mr. Dan Williams, the BoCC decided not to take us up.
I informed you that.
It was not Dan Williams, sorry, Dan Swallow. I just Yeah. Dan Swallow. And that was in a meeting. I was actually there to drive, we were at the last steps. I was dropping off the Mylar and talked to Justin and Dan Swallow, where they informed me that BoCC canceled our meeting for 2 days later. And I was not in support of that. I was just told that BoCC decided not to take it up. And since then, I have not received any word. From my understanding is BoCC had issues and wanted to charge fair market value for the vacation of those right of ways. And I reached out numerous times, good faith effort. And I've never heard nothing. And honestly, I'm very frustrated. I'm very nervous right now because you're supposed to work for the people, and you're not working for the people. Under a process that has been in line for more than 100 years. And it's very frustrating to hear nothing from any of the county officials.
Can I ask you some questions? Just
Absolutely.
Couple of things, sorry, don't be nervous. We do work for the people. We are part of the people. And I do understand your frustration, particularly with land use. Did Mr. Crapo tell you that that was going to be approved? Do you recall?
So understanding under the pre-submittal process, now, I'm going to give you some little background here. So I work with the U.S. Forest Service. My position is realty specialist. I am actually your Dan Swallow on the federal end. So I cover the South Park Ranger District. I'm very, very familiar with application processes when it comes to government applications. And no, so I did submit, or I did essentially explain to my situation, same with Dan Swallow and Justin McBird after. And yes, and I'm very understanding when it comes to accepting applications, I understand that the outcome may not be what I want. And so, no, there were no promises made.
So, and again, I'm not picking, I'm just trying to understand. So, and I used to be the plan director years ago, as you probably know, if you've been with us a while. So, because that person is not a decision maker, he is in a lot of other areas like administrative reviews that make decisions every day in the plan department. But for something at that level, you know, as you know, from federal land management, this is public land. And so we have to be very careful if we're just giving it away, right? We can't do that. That's where the fair market value I'll come back to. But generally, you would come to me, I would explain to you the process, I would review the standards, and then you would be shepherded or husbanded through the process. Here's where you're at now, and that was the public comment. Second question I have for you, did you ever get a written letter from the county with any determination that says we reviewed and decided not to, or did they just leave you?
No, so I received a sufficiency review, and let me just open up my press here.
The very first thing, so sufficiency is at your packet, has enough sufficient detail to go forward with review, but after the review, did you ever get a letter of determination or anything other, just you couldn't get a hold of us?
So talking with Lucy with many emails, I do know that it went to the staff reporting and we were clear to there. I went to the public notice process, which is exactly exempted, but we still continue to do that. I posted as needed, and I do have all that documentation.
So essentially, you follow the process, you pick your fees, you presented your want, and you explained the process, and then you were never allowed to come to the commission.
Correct. So I never, received a decision. Now, I'm really good at reading regulations, right? For the federal government. So I've been reading a lot of tele-county regulations, and when the Board of County Commissioners were supposed to postpone, decided to postpone, they were supposed to work with me on establishing a date no more than 100 days out. We're at 224 right now in the county. And I've worked again numerous times to establish that. Now also, and I've been trying to just want to sit down with you in a work session environment. As John knows, explained to me, the work session is probably the better scenario. I understand lands very well. And I want to make clear that you can't see the right of way as land. It is a right of way. It was dedicated back in the 1800s as such. And so that's why Colorado is establishing that province in giving the ability to the county commissioners to make that. And as I introduced later on, Senate Bill 2157, which fell to the Senate, would have given the county commissioners the ability to essentially condition on different maybe fair market value for the vacationing of those right of ways. And I presented that to Mr. Swallow and then on to the county attorney. And it came from my understanding, what was communicated to me, that there was no bearing for the county to be able to condition a fair market value. And since then, again, no communication.
Yeah, so I think what you're talking about is process. You're the land guy for US Forest Service, you understand the process.
Yeah.
And I used to do that quite a bit. So there may be some process valves. And I'll also tell you that Mr. Crowe doesn't work for our county anymore. There's some overlap or underlap in there. So that just helps me understand. And so as you sit here today, you still like to move forward with the process.
Absolutely, yep, so, Lucy called me in February. I think it was February. Sometime in February, I apologize for my small movement here, asking if I wanted to withdraw my application, which I indicated I would not withdraw my application.
So I really think, Mr. Chair, and listen to our attorney as well, I think you just move forward with the process so that we can actually have it before us. So I can't, from here forward, I can't say a whole lot about it if you.
Correct, and I understand. Essentially, what I just need to know is the county willing to move this forward? Otherwise, I have a last stop option, and I'm sure everybody knows what that is. And I don't want to do that.
So moving forward in the process, though, sir, is different than guaranteed approval. Correct. So tell you when you go back to the process to talk to Mr. Small about something called a revocable license to encroach. There's different ways that you can have access or have different, and I don't, again, because it's going to come forward, so don't go into any detail, but if you're looking at setting, building things, there's different scenarios, but again, I think you should just move forward in the process and see what happens, but and then Dan, I guess either we start the timeline over or we try to expedite to see where we're at, but I think it's a process thing. I mean, the attorney called, agreed.
Yeah, I think so, in, just while I'm here, but since we need to get the determination from the planning department. And then depending on what that is, Mr. Castillo will then have rights to either appeal that decision or to continue through the process. And ultimately get before this board on a hearing for that matter. It seems like we need to take a look at where it's currently at. And then get a decision for the applicant, one way or the other, whatever that might be. And then follow the process and the land use regulation to get that to completion, the applicant.
Yeah, so his application is complete. It was my understanding that you had requested that it not go forward until the commission had established a policy on how they're going to vacate rights of way. If that's not accurate, then I wasn't given accurate information, but we can bring this to the board quickly. All the legwork has been done, like I said, so we are going to deny somebody to go take their application before the Board of County Commissioners. It was just my understanding that you had requested that be kind of stopped until a formal policy could have been drafted, which we have in fact have a draft of a policy, but it hasn't been on the forefront of our priority list. So we can certainly make that a priority, but your application is essentially ready to go. We may need to look at the posting issues again if the posting has been taken down, but contact me outside the meeting and get that going. All right, you bet.
Yeah. And if I may, Mr. Chair, also, first off, I wanted to thank you for coming in, Mr. Castillo, and one of the things I want to mention, and just kind of for the general public out there, is that we get a ton of requests to meet with us for work sessions, and we have, a limited number of slots when you look at our, at our work session. So I certainly don't want you to take it as they're ignoring me. It's just we have, certain amount of time that we have in our work sessions, and we work with our administrator and John also, and helping to schedule those out and to prioritize and the best thing, honestly, is what you've done today, which is and I know it's stressful sometimes, and I get it, don't want you to be nervous at all, that's what these meetings are for, is to help bring items. There's a lot of things that are going on down in here on the county level, and sometimes it takes a citizen to come in and just say, hey, I got this one issue. And the best place to do that, frankly, is where you're standing today, is to come in and say, I got this issue, it's not moving forward, don't understand why. Sometimes it's process style, sometimes it's misunderstandings, but the best way to help clear those up is to come to a meeting like today. And so I want to thank you for doing that. And it sounds like we, have a path forward. Again, without, being pre-decisional about anything, again, just thank you for bringing it to our attention that it was stalled and stopped, and I understand your frustration, and thank your forbearance on that as we pick it up and move forward again. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
All right, any other public that has issues to be brought to the board that don't have an agenda item today? All right, great, we'll move on to our next items. Our girls from the West Pikes Peak Range Riders and Pikes Peak for Bus Rodeo information regarding the heritage events in the Pikes Peak region. Welcome.
Thank you, commissioners, for allowing us time today, and thank you, Commissioner Williams, for your comments. I'm a veteran also. I'm Harvey Freeman, president of the Pikes Peak Range Riders this year. As many of you know, we started back in '49 in Colorado Springs, and actually rode up this way and kind of told all the rural areas that they were gonna have a rodeo down there. And so this is our 76th rodeo, our 76th riding summer. And most of those have been in Teller County, and thanks for your hosting us for many years. We have the Pikes Peak Range Ride Pivots, which is part of our membership that's gonna be riding in your Top of the World Rodeo this weekend. They're gonna be grand entry, bring the flags in, run around real fast. And we also have a facility north of Falcon there called Latigo, that we let youth and 4-H organizations use that as a free or discounted rates. We have an indoor arena and outdoor arena, and that's the home of the Rangerettes. And so the Rangerettes are teenage female drill team, ages 12 to 20. There's 22 of them that's going to ride in your Top of the World Rodeo this weekend, and as the grand entry, and then also an intermission type of deal. So we have also out there, we have the Boys and Girls Club of Colorado Springs come out for a day, and we do a day on the range. So we let them come out and watch a sheep being sheared, and how to saddle a horse, and how to milk a cow, and how to get you riding the wagon, that kind of stuff. And our El Paso County Mounted Patrol comes out and does some presentation for them also. And then June 20th this year, we have our street breakfast, Colorado Springs Western Street Breakfast, that we invite Michelle down to. And that's where the Range Riders start out their ride out this year. There's about 160 of us that'll ride out in that event. Starts at 5:30 in the morning, but we ride out at 8. And there at Taytone and Pikes Peak. And then our goal and our mission is just to support Western heritage and the rural life. And so today with me, I have Ron Fink. She's the board of directors representative for the rodeo. And then following that, Rose Palmer is also an advisor for the rodeo, and she'll introduce the girls of the West.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Proud to be here this morning, not only your hospital president, but also here to represent our rodeo down the hill. And so this will be our 83rd rodeo this year, July 9th through the 13th. It'll be our third iteration of being a national finals rodeo open. So championship event. Most of the cowboys and cowgirls that will win at our rodeo will travel to Vegas in December to participate in the World Championships. As you know, our rodeo was started by Spencer Penrose. It's now a community legacy event down in Colorado Springs area. Obviously, he has a lot of ties to the town we're sitting in here today as well, going back to all the mining and everything. And he started that rodeo back in the late 30s. And then after World War II, his wife wanted to designate all the proceeds of the rodeo, near and dear to my heart today, to our local military families, which we've been doing since 1943. And so we've been going around making the rounds to all the military commands, giving them the updates on the rodeo to get their presentation out, their participation out. And so we looked at another world-class event coming up in a couple of weeks. We hope to have a pretty big announcement with the Professional Rodeo Cowboy Association on our partnership going forward a little bit more into the future. So please be on the lookout for that as well. Then we'd love to have you down there for the rodeo. We added 2 more performances last year because they continue to sell out. We had a Tuesday night performance and a Friday matinee to go along with the Saturday matinee, and all the Air Force cadets come out of Jacks Valley and then come participate in the rodeo, watch it, and then they eat a lot of food as well while they're there training. So it's generally a great week overall. We have a bunch of great bands lined up for the Coors Roadhouse. I think rodeo is complete too. And then our fan zone has expanded probably by about another 30 vendors this year. We expanded last year by 30, and now we have another 30 coming this year. So it'll be a pretty big event.
We hope we can get y'all out there to see the rodeo. We'll have a bunch of folks up here too for the top of the world rodeo, like Harvey mentioned, to participate and to observe and to be with you all up here as well. Any questions?
Thanks, Ron. Just for you, Harvey, top of the world times, you guys want to give that to the paper for this weekend? Times and dates and stuff. As you mentioned, they already have to. Thanks.
Top of the world or for the national? Okay.
Top of the world.
All right, let me follow my quotes.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we're glad to be here. Usually we're not here the day before the rodeo, but we'll be coming back up actually tomorrow night. But anyway, we are pleased to be here. I am a 23-year volunteer for the Pikes Peak West Rodeo and proud of what I do with the Girls of the West. The Girl West program started in 1922, so we're 102 years old, which is pretty amazing. Started before the rodeo, the main rodeo. I schedule and escort the Girls of the West for about 150 appearances. So this weekend, we have a practice at 9:30 on Saturday, then we have a parade, then a rodeo performance, then the street dance, and then the rodeo the next morning, pancake breakfast, all of it. We're excited to participate as always. And I think the Girls of the West will actually be presenting the colors for the national anthem. Because we lost Fort Carson and the color guard, which is really sad. But the Girl of the West is a 2-summer commitment, and this year we're changing our format, and it will only be a 1-year commitment because it's hard for teenagers, late teenagers, college students to make a 3-year commitment. So we're changing. Next year we'll only have a Girl of the West. So our Girl 8 this year is the last one. And let's see what else. Today we have some rodeo posters for the street breakfast and the rodeo. If you can put them up around town, I appreciate that. Just the girls. McKenna Norton is the 2024 Girl of the West. She was our Girl of the West last year as well. She's the 20-year-old daughter of Jeff and Kristen Norton. All through her life, she's been involved with equestrian events, and these are tongue twisters for me. Colorado Hunter Jumper Association, Interscholastic Equestrian Association, plus a member of the Pikes Peak Rangerettes. She was also served as the El Paso County Fair Queen in 2022. She's studying communications at the University of Wyoming, which is my alma mater as well. And
Go Pokes.
exactly. And she hopes to add communications to the rodeo world when she graduates. She likes her free time with her family and dogs and riding horses. Annika Normandy is our 2024 Girl of the West. She's the 18-year-old daughter of Rich Normandy and Kristen Sides. She was a member of El Paso County Arts and Hoops 4-H club for 8 years, and also served as the 2023 El Paso County Fair Queen. She was also member of the Rangerettes and was captain in 2022, and will be joining of course, the Rangerettes and the Pivots here. We can't be more proud to be here at your rodeo at the top of the world. And another thing is Donkey Derby Days is going back to June, so we can participate in that as well. When it was in August after our rodeo, it was not something we could support, so that's a great event too. We love coming to Cripple Creek, by the way. The military aspect, Monica goes to the University of Colorado State University, also majoring in communications. The military aspect of the Pikes Peak West Rodeo is important to her because her dad just retired from a lifelong life in the Air Force, and her mom's still active duty in the Navy. So here's the Girls of the West, and enjoy them.
My name's McKenna. I'm the Girl of the West, and I'm Monica, a Girl of the West. We serve as the proud ambassadors of the Pikes Peak West Rodeo, and we are so excited to let you know that pro rodeo cowboys and cowgirls from across the US, Canadian circuits, and champions from Mexico will all be heading to Colorado Springs, July 9th through the 13th. With over $1 million in payouts, they'll be competing to win. This is where champions and careers are made. The speed, the excitement, there's no better place to be than at the NFR Open at the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo. Over 200 contestants will bring their talents to the scenic and historic Norris Penrose Event Center to compete in bareback riding, breakaway roping, steer wrestling, team roping, saddle bronc riding, tie-down roping, barrel racing, and bull riding. The finals will be held Saturday night, July 13th, when the National Circuit Champions will be crowned. I'd like to take a minute to let you know that the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo is a very special event to me, and I know it is for McKenna and her family too. It's important to us because of everything that it stands for, representing our Western heritage and values, hosting one of the top professional rodeos in the country, and most of all, giving back to our local military and their families. So I'm grateful to be representing this legacy event that brings people together to celebrate all that is good about our country and the growing sport of professional rodeo, all while honoring the services and sacrifices made by our military and their families. Our local military are honored at each performance. U.S. Army SMBC and MTA on Tuesday evening, Fort Carson 4th Infantry Division on Wednesday evening, First Responders and 302nd Airlift Wing on Thursday evening, Guard Reserve units and educators at the Friday matinee, Space Night on Friday evening, the United States Air Force Academy at the Saturday matinee, and NORAD US Northcom on Saturday evening. The Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo has been proudly giving back to our local military and their families since 1946. Proud indeed, Annika. I can say without a doubt that this year's rodeo is going to be incredible. Every minute of every performance. The NFR Open at the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo is held July 9th through the 13th, with evening performances Tuesday through Saturday and matinee performances on Friday and Saturday. Evening performances will begin at 7 p.m. with matinee performances starting at noon. Grounds open at 10 a.m. for matinee performances and 4 p.m. for evening performances. There's tons to do before the rodeo begins, with lots of vendors for shopping, lots of options to grab a bite to eat or something to drink, and plenty of fun to be had in the fan zone, for kids and grown-ups too. If you want to skip the traffic, and who doesn't, then you can leave the driving to us and take our free luxury shuttles. Just park at the garage at Costilla and Tejon, it's free, and our shuttles will bring you and your family to the rodeo and back to your car after the rodeo, or even after some fun in the Coolers Roadhouse Saloon. Each performance starts with the Pikes Peak Range Rider pivots and Pikes Peak Range Rat drill teams, followed by the El Paso County Sheriff's Office Mounted Patrol Unit. Then it's top rodeo action and then some, as well as fan favorite mutton busting. We all love to watch these fierce kiddos give it their all at hopes of winning a trophy and a medal. Plus, our specialty act this year is amazing. Jessica Blair Folks and Dusty Dickinson are the best trick riders in the nation. They are thrilling to watch. Then after the rodeo, stick around for autographs from the contestants, the rangerettes, visiting royalty, and the girls of the West. That's us. Then live music and dancing away at the Coolers Roadhouse Saloon. I'm going to be watching for you to wave back at us from our awesome pink Ram truck from Perkins Motors. We'll be heading out all over town to promote our rodeo at businesses, military installations, and community events, and stopping by our generous sponsors who help make this event possible. And speaking of community events, I hope to see you all bright and early on June 20th at the annual Colorado Springs Western Street Breakfast and the official send-off for the Pikes Peak Range Riders annual ride. I'm counting on seeing each of you at this year's rodeo. The dates again are Tuesday, July 9th through Saturday, July 13th. Save time and get the best pricing by buying your tickets online at pikespeakerbus.org and check out our website for more information and to make your rodeo experience a great one. The NFR Open at the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo is for the true fan, the first timer, and everyone in between. It's rodeo time. The NFR Open at the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo is July 9th through the 13th at the Norris Penrose Event Center in Colorado Springs. See you there.
We really appreciate you ladies and gentlemen for showing up today. It's always a great presentation to sit through. I've sat through quite a few of them over the years, but thank you so much for being here, and we'll do our best to be there, and I'm sure everybody in the audience will do their best to be there too. So thank you for making the trip. And I'm sorry. Yeah, can we do that? Can we take a picture?
Yeah, absolutely. And before we do that, it was always good to see you again when we grew up at Carbon County Fair and Rodeo, and then later, Jubilee Days, Frontier Days before I moved down here to Colorado. So just so excited that not only is this is this event, not only still exists, but it continues to grow, continues to sell out. And, you know, you guys really are the cornerstone of keeping and preserving and sharing our Western heritage. And I just love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I just add to that, you say it all the time, and we don't want to get too political here, but you guys really do remind the other 5 million people in the state of 5.8 million people that we have a little heritage. It really does edit, and the evidence is there. Bob said, if you host it downtown, you get Denver, you get Arapahoe, you get Vincent, and it is so much more important than you guys probably realize right now in terms of water, ranching, agricultural history. So, and of course, you guys riding horses and cows, so and kids. And so thank you so much. It means a lot. So I'm honored to know you guys.
Thank you.
You guys just stand right up here. Makes this way we should.
What?
Yeah, you guys all get
How are you?
Oh, I stand right behind you.
So you saw me.
We'll do the, do you, I think, we do this.
Three, 1, 2, 3. Usually my phone.
You're the county administrator, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Great job.
Can you send the picture to me, please?
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Love to see you.
So we can see it.
Yeah.
35.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
We're going to a D-Day presentation at Fort Carson at 11 o'clock. Hopefully we reach it. But anyway, thank you so much.
All right, back in session. At this time, we will recess of the Tyler County Board of County Commissioners. We convene as the Tyler County Board of Health for our next agenda item. And the next agenda item is to consider approval of a wastewater treatment system variance request for 125 Castro Court and Divide. Mr. Mays.
Everyone, Austin May, Tyler County Environmental Health. This should be very similar to the last two that were approved on the meeting on the 23rd. This is the last one we have for the foreseeable future. I hope to get this one in on the last meeting, but unfortunately we did not receive the application in time to get it on the agenda, so bring it to you today. I can get as, excuse me, as detailed or as brief as you would like to be on this, but is for a setback reduction requested for potable water cistern to the SDA component of the OWTS from 100 to 84 feet. And the statement from 2A5 Engineering has recommended that they approve the variance request based on the elevation differences. There's approximately 25 to 30 feet elevation, so the cistern will be higher than the septic system. So very, very low risk of cross contamination. The staff recommendation for Tyler County Environmental Health is to approve the variance.
Okay, gentlemen, any questions?
No, I was just gonna thank you for your work on this and protecting the health safety part of our mission. And of course, this is a community that have water delivered to it from pond number 2. And I could be a problem with digging well there as you can. So I appreciate you bringing this forward.
And I think for me, it's the elevation difference that protects the, any risk that may or may not be apparent, so I think that's the key point in this one. Any other discussion? All right, what would be your choice on this application? All right, we'll open this up for public comment on this variance request. Any public comment? Okay, seeing none. Gentlemen, it's just up to us to make the motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the on-site wastewater treatment system variance request from Rick and Leanne Ritchie for 125 Kestrel Court, Divide, Colorado, as presented.
Second motion, Mr. Chair.
Great, assuming no other discussion from the board, roll call please.
Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you, Johnson.
All right, with that agenda item completed, we'll now adjourn as the Teller County Board of Health. And then reconvene our other hat as Teller County Board of County Commissioners. For our 1010 agenda item. It is from Community Development Division to consider a resolution approving a request to rezone the Clare Ranch parcel ID number 3347.013 001150 39.02 acre parcel from the Planned Business Center PBC, which I don't think we have anymore, to an agriculture A1 and to amend the official zoning map, district map in Teller County. Lucy, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Hercom, Mr. Rizal, Madam Secretary. I'm Lucy Caluette, the Teller County Planner. The Planning and Zoning Division is here today to present the staff report to rezone a 39.02 acre parcel from a planned business center to agricultural zone and amend the official zoning district map. The rezone request is for a 39.02 acre parcel located in the southwest quarter of Section 1, Township 13 South, Range 71 West of the 6th Principal Meridian. The parcel also has the address of 238 2nd Street in Florissant. The property was posted on March 8th, 2024, and published in the Pikes Courier on May 22nd, 2024, noticing of this public hearing today. The request before the Board of County Commissioner is for an amendment to the official zoning map to rezone a 39.02 acre parcel from a planned business center to agricultural zone. The Clares are requesting this rezone so that they may build a single-family dwelling with a small barn for their horses. The Planning Commission held a duly noticed public hearing on May 14, 2024, and made a recommendation of approval to the Board of County Commissioners. The written findings can be found on page 7 of this staff report. The town of South Florissant was platted and approved on November 16, 1889, and the town of East Florissant was platted and approved on April 5, 1890. The vacation plat is recorded at reception number 179227. The resolution for the vacation of the town of East Florissant and a portion of the town of South Florissant was approved on March 3, 1961 at reception number 179229. The Clares obtained the subject property via a warranty deed on August 29, 2022 at reception number 753777. The subject parcel is currently zoned PBC, which is an obsolete zone district. There are no extraordinary environmental factors that exist on the parcel. The submittal requirements and standards for the rezone and amendment to the official zoning map have been met. Staff finds that the applicant provided all the required and relevant material to complete the process of rezoning. Additionally, staff finds that the thresholds found in section 3.2.A through C have been met given the material presented in the application submitted as it relates to the action of the proposed rezoning. As part of all land use application, staff compiles referral agency responses and integrates all comments into the review process and staff report. In the case of this proposed rezoning, Referral agency comments were reviewed and incorporated. Staff thought referrals from the Teller County Attorney, Planning Department, Environmental Health, Teller County Department of Transportation, CORE, Colorado Natural Gas, Florissant Fire District, and Florissant Water and Sanitation. The most relevant comments were received from CORE regarding the prescriptive easement right across the property. The application was reviewed per section 3.4.A through J and meets the applicable threshold. The intent of the Growth Management Plan, GMP, is to provide for the planned and orderly development within the county and cooperating communities, while balancing basic human needs of a changing population and maintaining a healthy environment. Additionally, a goal of the GMP is to promote appropriate design and arrangement of development which is compatible with the community, area, and neighborhood. Staff finds that the proposal to rezone the Clear Ranch from a PBC zone district to an A1 zone district would allow the property owners to build a single-family dwelling with a small barn for their horses. The proposed rezoning creates a compatible parcel which promotes the underlying principle of basic land planning and zoning of lands by eliminating an obsolete PBC zoned parcel surrounded by C1 commercial, A1 agricultural, and R1 residential zoning districts. The rezoning of the Clear Ranch would match the historic development pattern that exists, and the rezoning action, if approved, does not require any further infrastructure demands. Staff finds that the standards of 2.11.E.1 through 2 have been satisfied, and the rezoning is appropriate given the basic principle of land use planning and goals of the GMP. There were no major concerns from the referral agency, and staff finds no major concerns or issues with the request of amending the official zoning district map of the Clear Ranch. The basic and essential content of an application and the common procedures for review of an application have been met as determined in the staff findings. Given the material, narrative, deeds, facts, and evidence presented for the proposed rezoning of the Clear Ranch, staff believes it is appropriate for the Board of County Commissioners to approve of the rezone request. Additionally, staff finds that the proposed rezoning to be in harmony with all applicable land use regulations. Staff acknowledges the submittal requirements for the rezoning have been substantially met. The application have met the standards for approval in the Teller County land use regulation, submittal requirements, minimal contents of application, common procedures for review of application, and standards for rezoning. Staff recommends to the Board of County Commissioners of Teller County that it approves the request to rezone the subject property from a planned business center to agricultural and to amend the official zoning district map.
Thank you, BoCC. Does the applicant have a presentation? Yes, ma'am.
Not really a presentation.
If you could come into the mic, sure. It's not required. I just want to make sure if you have comments on the record.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for seeing us this morning and to finally get to meet you in person. My name has come up and we figured out that no one really knew who I was, even though I've been around for quite a while in Teller County.
And with that, not to interrupt, but could we get your name for the record?
Excuse me,
It's gonna
I'm
get
sorry. My name is Marion Claire, and I do live in Florissant. We've been there, our family since 1951. And we have several pieces of property in Florissant, and this one in particular originally did belong to our family. And it was agricultural at the time. It did change hands several times, and that's how it got to be the PBC that it is. And We really wrestled with the decision on whether to lose that zoning, since it was the last zoning that's available in Teller County for that kind of development. And we decided we would rather keep it open space, since it does butt up against Florissant Park, and just build our single family home there and keep it open space.
Demonstration.
No, I just want to thank you, Mary, and for your family's history. I grew up around Florissant when it was the Magnuson Ranch. It's called CME now. And I used to have Lucy's job, you know, Dan's, and so this is a good opportunity for us to right size. You're adjacent to the park, which you mentioned, which we appreciate. You're also adjacent to the historic area of downtown. None of us are anti-growth, but I think restoring it to what it rightly was, particularly with the beauty that place is right and proper. I did look at the comments you've got, neighbors that are in support, so that's always good. I saw the core electrical thing. All it's basically telling you is, hey, we've got a CG 15 to 20, and these claim prescriptive rights. That's not an issue. Just a reminder, you know, when you go from PVC to agricultural, it's a 50-foot setback. So as you start planning your house and your barn and stuff, they'll work with you just to keep it. I just applaud you for doing it. I think the last time, Bob, that we rezoned from something more intense to less intense was also in Florissant, where we actually had to use a commercial property. Remember, Paul, that was in the middle of a residential neighborhood. And so these PVCs were really just designer back in the day, where everybody thought, hey, it's going to grow into this big thing, but as it hasn't, and you the long-term view for your heirs and sons. So I really appreciate you guys. I'm supportive of this. Thank you, Lucy and Dan, for all your hard work.
Yes, and I did want to comment that Lucy has done a fantastic job in helping us through this process, as it's taken us 1.5 years to get this in front of you. So we're so happy to be here today and make that step forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Tom?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
All right, Lucy, I think the next step is if we can read the resolution.
Yes, sir. The Board of County Commissioners of Teller County, Colorado, resolution number 06-06-2024, number 19. A resolution approving a request to rezone the Clear Ranch parcel ID number 3347.013.001.150, a 39.02 acre parcel from Planned Business Center PBC to agricultural A1, and to amend the official zoning district map. Whereas Harold Eugene and Marianne Bishop Claire have requested approval to rezone the Claire Ranch parcel ID number 3347.013.001.150, a 39.02 acre parcel of the property from Planned Business Center PBC to agricultural A1, and to amend the county's official zoning district map. And whereas on May 14th, 2024, the Teller County Planning Commission held a duly noticed public hearing where it considered the application, the findings of the staff report dated April 3rd, 2024, the staff report, the testimony and materials presented at that hearing, and has recommended that the Board of County Commissioners approve the request to rezone the property and to amend the county's official zoning district map. And whereas after notice as required by law, a public hearing was held by the Board of County Commissioners, the board, on June 6, 2024. And whereas after considering the request, the supporting materials, the recommendation in the staff report dated May 24th, 2024, referral responses and public comments received, the board finds that the request is consistent with and meets the requirement of section 2.11.E.1-2 of the Teller County Land Use Regulations to rezone the property and amend the official zoning district map. Now, therefore be it resolved that the property is rezoned from the Planned Business Center PBC zone to the agricultural A1 zone, and that the Teller County official zoning district map shall be amended to show this rezoning. The foregoing resolution was adopted at a regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners of Teller County, Colorado,
held the sixth day of June twenty twenty-four in Crystal Creek, Colorado.
Thank you, Lucy. At this time, I need to open this resolution up for any public comments. Hearing and seeing none. Gentlemen, what would be your thought process and our decision on this?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve resolution number 06-06-2024, para 19. That being a resolution approving a request to rezone declare ranch parcel ID number 3347.0130011150, a 39.02 acre parcel from Planned Business Center, PBC, to agricultural A1, and to amend the official zoning district map.
Second, and just one point, there is a typo on the title. It says district map instead of district map, but I'm sure that can be
Get that fixed up before we
corrected. So I will second that with that correction.
All right. Assuming no other discussion. Roll call, Ms. Keys.
Mr. Stone.
Yes.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Young.
Yes.
Congratulations, you guys, and make sure.
Thank you.
Hopefully you can create something that your family will enjoy and treasure for the coming decades. This is awesome.
That's what we plan on for generations to come and, you know, be able to enjoy that the way we've been able to. And keep the historic value of Morrison still intact.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, if I'm not mistaken, that concludes the hearing items for the regular part of the meeting. And then we'll move on to Commissioner business items. Mr. Herzog, that moves you up.
Thank you, sir. What do you is business items, so number one is consider ratifying the agreement of Pearl Playgrounds, originally signed by Teller County Public Works Director Fred Clifford on May 23rd. So this is the equipment over in Forest Park. It is for $112,999. Forest and Park Playground. It does reference CRS 80-17-101. So what that is, in Colorado, labor, if a project can't have at least 80% of local laborers are gonna have non-work on that project. You have the ability to waive that, and so Attorney Burkham can speak more if there's questions. I know mentioning this just because Commissioner Stone did just ask what, brought that up, with why that was in there, and just for transparency that it was brought up at this one. All three of you to be aware of it as well.
And we added an amendment to the agreement to address that Colorado labor provision and included a waiver of the labor preference for Colorado labor because it's appropriate due to the insufficient Colorado labor to perform the work of the project, and complying with that statute would create an undue burden and substantially prevent the project from proceeding to completion. And one of the components there is that the company that manufactures this equipment has its certified and trained installers. So I think it would be appropriate for the right people to build that playground equipment. So we get all the warranties that go with the purchasing equipment and installation. That they're out of state and out of state labor, what they're doing. So it's appropriate for that waiver, and that's what's included.
Thank you, Mr.
I don't have any questions.
Yes, sir.
I do not either. Glad this is on the way after a couple of years of planning and some works to get there, even though it's much more considerable remodeling, so to speak, of the park costs than what we originally anticipated, but it's the right thing to do.
With that, Mr. Chair, I move to ratify the agreement with Pro Playgrounds. See that moving fast because Pro Playgrounds, originally signed by Public Works Director Fred Clifford on May 23rd, 2024. As presented.
Second motion, Mr. Chair.
Right, roll call, please.
Mr. Stone.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Moving on to number 2 is consider approval of modification of grant or agreement number 22-LE-11021200-025. And that's modification number 2 with the USDA Forest Service to add additional funding. Always great to get additional funding, modification, not less. So it's adding $7,331.11, which, when you add in the what was remaining, it brings it to an even 10,000 on this agreement. So.
And I think, Mr. Chair, that snippets of this one, Pat, is this pays for one of our deputies a little bit to go out into the forest and do some enforcement. It's something that all 3 commissioners continue to work with the BLM and the forest, which is lacking. So it doesn't pay for the whole thing, obviously, but a couple of long weekends can be, so it's appreciated.
A long weekend.
Yeah, which is what it is, you know.
Happy to receive it.
Yeah.
I didn't have any additional questions or comments.
No, neither, sir. With that, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve modification of grant of agreement number 22-LE-11021-200-025. Modification of number 002 with USDA Forest Service, additional funding of $7,333.11.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Service, there are a few that were just pulled off this agenda. So the next one is one of them, just that they weren't required to be on or already. So this is number 3 is pulled from the Thursday, June 6th agenda. That was consider approval of emergency mutual assistance agreement for local Colorado public health agencies. And it's been pulled. Going to number 4 is consider authorizing the Teller County Sheriff's Office to apply for a Colorado Parks and Wildlife Backcountry Search and Rescue Grant, BSAR. So this is great. Recently, the sheriff is seeing search and rescue. They're still their own nonprofit, but the grant is going through the sheriff's office. They're requesting a UTV and also another piece of equipment, like a winch piece of equipment, roughly around $35,000 for the equipment. This was brought to their attention during the recent amount of snow that we received over the winter, where it would be great to have a vehicle with tracks on it. So that's what this grant is doing. So no concerns on this.
So that vehicle belonged to search and rescue of the sheriff.
It's under the sheriff, so we can title under the sheriff's.
So we still are maintained. Thanks, Rich. Other questions, Chair?
No, before we send this in, I just like to put on, you've got move emergency manager listed. Page 2. For an email address.
I think that's actually Don's field.
I was honestly, I was thinking on these 3.
Okay, yeah, Don at the, we'll oversee the grant piece of it for filing.
Never mind, I'm sorry.
New glasses?
Any questions, gentlemen?
Saw you both.
No questions.
Questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would move to authorize the Teller County Sheriff's Office to apply for the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Backcountry Search and Rescue BSAR grant as presented.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Going to the next one is the task order. This is item number 5. Consider approval of task order with the State of Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment for Public Health Emergency Preparedness Program. No concern on this. This helps just upgrade the ability to effectively respond to a range of public health threats, including infectious disease, natural disasters, biological, chemical, nuclear, and radiological events.
No questions, Mr. Chair.
No questions.
All right, gentlemen, what would be your choice?
Chair, I move that we approve the task order with the State of Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment for Public Health and Emergency Preparedness Program as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Moving on is item number 6. This is consider approving contract amendment number 1 to the original contract number 20240061 with Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment to extend the contract date and budget. So the numbers in front of you would replace the prior. This would have an expiration of June 30th, 2025, and you'll see the contract maximum amount changed to $84,291. Might comes back up, but I believe this is the one that helps with vaccinations.
Any questions?
I don't need, sir.
All right, your choice on this business item?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the contract amendment number 1 to the original contract number 2024-0061 with Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment to extend the contract date and budget as presented.
Second is true.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Moving on, item number 7 has been pulled from the agenda. Item number 8 has been pulled from the agenda. Item number 9 has been pulled from the agenda. And item 10 is consider approval of amendment memorandum of agreement between Teller County Public Health and Environment and the Animal Clinic of Woodland Park. This agreement, a lot of it has to do with when they have to take a subject animal and have it looked at for rabies. So there's a process involved where they send that off to a lab, and this is some of the fee structure on that. I believe it was approximately $40 to put the subject down, and then 25 for the cremate. So no question on it.
And I know it's not funny, but $20 for the decapitation service,
Yes.
copy offer. They got stuff in ladies, right?
Yeah, they have to send the
Bats,
brain in.
yeah.
So
Any questions, gentlemen?
I was trying to filter this, sir.
Yeah. So we're full service county, that we decapitate as well. No questions, sir.
No question.
Chair, I move that we approve the memorandum of agreement MOA between Teller County Public Health and Environment and the Animal Clinic of Woodland Park.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone? Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
He was distracted.
That they can't, you gotta do it. Whatever you could.
Moving on to number 11, very similar agreement, but this is with to consider approval of a memorandum of agreement between Teller County Public Health and Environment and Teller Park Veterinary Service. Again, this is for decapitation of mammals such as cat, skunk, raccoon, as they investigate for rabies. And the fee structure is similar, not identical though, but approximately $25 per event for the carcasses after decapitation.
The reason it was different than.
Each has their own process and what they want to do.
Maybe different animals, but the same disease, so to speak. Yeah. Tom?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the memorandum of agreement between Teller County Public Health and Environment and Teller Park Veterinary Services as presented.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Going on to item number 12 is consider ratification of the agreement with Tyler Technologies, originally signed by Clerk Recorder Stephanie Keys. So Madam Clerk Keys is here, she can speak to it, but this was something that she brought to attention just to help with fraud notification. You want to speak to it at all? So this is
Implemented fraud.
So we talked about 2 times ago. Yeah, there's a lot of good social media response to that, and a lot of good big that you did. So thank you. Sad that it's happening. Thanks for doing this.
great service to provide to the residents of our community.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, any questions or your choice of decision on this one?
Sure, I move that we ratify the agreement with Tyler Technologies originally signed by the Clerk Recorder Stephanie Keys on May 23rd, 2020.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yeah.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes. I think if I'm not mistaken, that's the end of our business items.
Correct. No administrative matters have been received after the agenda deadlines. Thank you, sir.
All right, and with that, I think we'll be able to adjourn. We have 10:45, we're adjourned.